Welcome everyone to the March 11th, 2026 ESS special meeting. Nick is here with us to give us a legislative update, so I'm going to allow him to go first here so he can get back to work. So Nick, floor is yours.
Thanks, everybody. Can you hear me? Can anybody give me, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. I got a thumbs up. All right. Hi, everyone. Yes, we're running between hearings today. We have our second funnel deadline at the State House next Friday. There was a lot of floor debate Monday and Tuesday this week. The House has a 2-page long list of bills they're debating on the floor tomorrow. We're waiting to see if the Senate's going to debate, but they have a lot of committee blocks, and then next week will be maybe a little floor debate on Monday, but then a lot of committee work to try to get policy bills across the, they have to pass one chamber and then a subcommittee and a committee in the opposite chamber before March 20th on those policy bills. However, most of the bills that the Reporters Association and ESS have been engaged on this year most are funnel proof because they have a fee included in them. So they're in the Ways and Means Committee, so they aren't subject to that March 20th deadline. This week, we had a little bit of, well, it was late last week, we had HSB 761 introduced. And that bill, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yeah. So do you have names?
There we go. And HSB 761 is it was introduced and it's a recorder convenience fee, but it was drafted as real estate. However, we went to the subcommittee, we had some conversations with Rep. Bloomingdale. I know there was some outreach to Rep. Nordman. There's already an amendment in drafting on that bill to make the convenience fee for DNR filings rather than real estate findings. So that bill, we were told by staff that the amendment would be shared once it's ready. And then we also were able to chat with the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Clemish, this week on the recorder appointment, recorder, auditor, and treasurer appointment provision. Just checking in to see how much steam that conversation continues to have. We have heard that the governor's property tax bill is probably not moving forward on either side, but we don't want that provision scooped out and added to the House or Senate proposal. There's been more chatter and interest on the Senate side. Senate Majority Leader said, I do not believe you should see that, but he didn't, give me a full 100%. So I just want to keep that on everybody's radar, that we're going to continue to watch for that and have conversations to make sure that that doesn't pop up. And then on House File 1031, the latest we have is that Senator Dawson is well aware of it. We've had a couple of conversations. Jordan was able to have an in-person conversation with him when she was up testifying on the governor's property tax bill. And he's trying to determine, so last year that bill passed subcommittee. So he's trying to determine if he wants to push it to another subcommittee hearing or to just bring it to the full committee. We also are supposed to hopefully be chatting with Rep. Nordman again this afternoon or early tomorrow morning to touch base on several of these issues, including the fee policy. Let's jumpstart those conversations. But we need Senator Dawson as chair of Ways and Means to determine that he wants to move that forward. But it does help having Rep. Nordman being supported as the House Ways and Means chair. One thing I have mentioned to Jordan, and if my schedule allows, I'm hoping to give an update to the full Reporters Association tomorrow, is on needing to get touches into the Senate Ways and Means Committee to encourage that bill move forward from those reporters that have senators on the committee. So that's the latest. The property taxes continue to absorb a lot of the oxygen in this building. That's where Senator Dawson's focus is. So that's kind of what we're up against on where his focus is. But we're trying to navigate that and push to get some movement on House File 1031 proactively. On the defensive side, I feel like we've amended I don't even know how many bills we have amendments on this year because everything seems to be touching recorders or your offices or impacting the recording process for ESS. But most of those have either died or there was an amendment this week on that. Board of Supervisors need to make an ordinance for county offices policy. Recorders' offices and other elected offices were exempted from that bill and before it moved over to the House. So I think those are the most up-to-date items occurring. I'm happy to answer any questions and appreciate the feedback we've been getting. If we miss something or something needs to be on our radar, please share it with us. We're happy to engage where needed. But defensively, we're in a pretty strong spot, it feels like. And then we're trying to really jumpstart that conversation in a year where there's a lot of oxygen being taken up by one big issue.
And yes, this is Phil. Could you just give us an indication? Sounds like you're going to have some conversations tomorrow. Will you be able to include any information from that in your end of week update, or what are you planning to do with that?
Yeah, if we get any new information, I'll send an update to ESS and ICR leadership. We're in our off week for the weekly reports, but I'll send an update that then can be shared with folks if we get new information as soon as we get it.
And thank you very much. We know you're on a tight schedule today. Do any of the committee members wish to ask Nick any questions? I think I do have a message in the chat pod that I'm looking at, Nick.
Yep.
You can see that too, relating to the county policy bill.
Yep, Renee, good question. Yes, so an amendment was added to Senate File 2434. Don't quote me on that number. I might be transcribing those numbers, but that exempted both 911 and PSAP offices and elected county officers, including recorders, from having to have your office policies approved by ordinance. So yes, that amendment was adopted in the Senate yesterday.
Thank you, Nick. Any other questions? All right, Nick, thanks for your work and for the update, and get back to work.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And if you need me, you know where to find me. And hopefully I can join for the legislative update period for the ICRA meeting tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you. Take care.
Great. So thanks for that little brief introduction or interruption by Nick for the legislative update. So moving on, we have introductions. So Jamie is here. Our new director, Jamie, is here.
Okay, Jamie.
And besides the committee, Anne is here from Dubuque County as well. So welcome, Anne. Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Should you go around the table and have everybody
Love to.
identify themselves?
Yes, sure. So I'll start on my end. So I'm Jamie Stargell, Adams County Recorder and Chair of ESS, and also Vice President of the Iowa County Recorder Association.
Keisha Martin, Rainbow County.
Denise Baker, Ray County. Brandon Case, Grundy County.
Kristen Delaney Cole, Iowa Land Records.
Stacy Herridge, Story County Reporter.
Ian Sweeney, Dubuque County Reporter.
Natalie Stephaner, Des Moines County.
Julie Haggerty, Polk County.
Jamie Kaufman.
Bill done too soon to be a has-been, so.
All right. So moving on, the ESS Coordinating Committee meeting summaries. Last time we met was February 19th, 2026. So that meeting summary was included in your packet. Is there any discussion?
She did have an edit that she turned in. It's not reflected in your packet, but she was present at the previous meeting. And for the permanent record, we'll make sure that you're there.
Okay, so we'll amend that for Stacy being present here. Okay. Any additional corrections? No, I'll take a motion to approve those.
Move approval with the amendment.
Thanks, Travis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Keisha has seconded, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the February 19th, 2026 meeting summary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Next up, we have the ESS financial and strategic review discussion.
This is just an intermission trends report this time. Wanted just to make a note that there is typically a drop in intermission and general reporting activity in February. We're following pattern here, but nothing unusual, except that I think it is notable that we are basically right below 20. I can't see it with what's on the screen, 2021, I believe it is. And I would also note that the February number uh, for this year was the second lowest total for February ever. So,
Highest.
no?
Highest, not
Oh,
lowest.
it's the highest. I'm sorry. The second highest ever. And so even though it's following a pattern of a drop in February, it still is a good number. And we aren't doing a financial report this month, but generally speaking, I think we can say that the budget from a revenue perspective is on track. So that's the main update I have for you today.
All right, thank you, Phil. All right, contract and agreements are up next. The notification system, RFQ, the notice of intent to award and authorization to amend contract.
Okay, I'll be the narrator for this as well. In January, this committee directed me to get moving on the notification system. So we went to work and crafted a RFQ document that was then shared at the, actually, we shared it with you officially at the February 19th meeting. But in the interest of keeping things moving, we did publish it on February 3rd. I did get a question this morning about the extent to which we reviewed the RFQ with legal counsel at Birch Gentry. I had to go back to my notes, but yes, in fact, on February 2nd, we had conversations with the Birch Gentry firm about the nature of the RFQ, its scope of work, and generally we received a green light from the Birch Gentry firm that they had no concerns with the RFQ. So the following day, we went ahead and published it. The proposals were due on February 17th. We did receive 3 official proposals from COT Systems, Lean Techniques, and We Write Code. Lean Techniques and We Write Code are companies that do software development that we have had a long-term contract with. Actually, we're sort of nearing the end of that period, but we may end up renewing it. And we have had ongoing contracts with the local land record management systems. I think it's worth noting that we made a decision before the publication of the RFQ to permit the land record management systems who were in contract with ESS to submit proposals. That concept actually originated from conversations that we had with Earth Solutions, who in the prior months have been sort of promoting their notification system software. And we even scheduled a demo for some interested members of the Solutions Reporters Group. As a result of that discussion, we continued a conversation with the Herald Solutions Group and asked them, just out of interest, would you be interested in responding to our RFQ? Would that be of interest to you? Would you like to participate? And they said yes. So that is why we expanded the eligible participants in the RFQ to include those local service providers. We did limit it to those companies that are actually under contract support and maintenance agreement, because our goal was to just simply be in a situation to work with the company and have the opportunity to amend the agreements that we already had with them rather than starting from scratch. And that's what we did. A committee, an evaluation committee was formed. A number of people that are present here today participated in it. Jamie Sturgill, our chair, Jesse Huseman, who is not able to be with us today from Grundy County, and new director Jamie Hoffman were members of the committee, as were Myrna Addison, who is our technical lead, and Amy Asink from Floyd County, who volunteered to be a participant. My role was to facilitate the process, not to actually conduct the evaluation. The committee, narrowed the options down to two, either lean techniques or rewrite code. Interviews were held with them. These were virtual online interviews. Lots of good discussion and questions were asked. And as a result of that discussion, the search committee was unanimous in their recommendation to proceed with CAT systems. As a follow-up to that, though, they did have a number of questions that they wanted answers to. And if you look at the second page of the memo, which I think is page 9 in your packet, you can see that we had questions about what staff they were going to assign. We wanted to make sure we understood that if they were going to use any offshore personnel, that we were clarifying that none of those people could have access to our system here in the United States. They had proposed a two-stage payment plan, 50% at the top and then 50% at the end. We indicated to them that we wanted to phase that in more gradually so we could have control over the process. They came back with a proposal to conduct 11 two-week sprints and divide the project into 6 different phases as outlined in item 3. Associated with that, they proposed an adjustment in the payment schedule to have 33% paid upfront and then the other 3 parts paid midstream, and then a final one at the very end, but at the beginning of the warranty period, which they proposed. They did propose a 2-month warranty period to work with us to identify and correct any issues if they were found. Their proposal was the lowest cost proposal. I would say that issue did cause some pause about whether or not they were underpricing themselves based on the previous estimates that we had received in May of 2025. But after discussion and review, they, I think, were very clear that they had carefully scoped out their costs and they stood by the number and even offered to do it on a not to exceed basis. So, in other words, they're guaranteeing that they will do the scope of work for this number, even if they have to spend more time at it. Then the other part of it is a fair caveat that if we change the scope of work or ask them to do something that was not in the RFQ, then there could be a discussion about some additional compensation, and that's just normal doing business. We asked them to provide very regular, specific updates in terms of their work process, which they agreed to. So the conclusion of that is that I believe we were able to address all the questions that the search committee or the evaluation committee had after the second interview. And for that reason, as your project manager, I believe that those conditions that you were seeking, that the search and Evaluation Committee were recommending have been fulfilled. And with that, it would be my recommendation, and I think I can speak for the Evaluation Committee, to proceed ahead to authorize us to negotiate a specific contract amendment in accordance with the assurances that they provided, and to formally issue a notice of intent to award, which is found on page 11. I don't know if this really provides any assurance to you, but some of you may know that I've been around the block a few years. And basically, we're following a procurement procedure that is used by the state of Iowa. Having worked with the state CIO's office before, I did learn a few tricks while I was there. And so this notice of intent to award is a formality that is a part of their process as well. Now, I do understand that there were some questions circulating by email relating to the selection of Todd. And I just would like to take a moment to address some of the key points there. The first is that there is nothing about the evaluation process that had any bias or preference toward CHOT systems, that I think the evaluation committee members would affirm that the first part of their evaluation was on the quality of their proposal, and they didn't even see the class proposal until we had completed that first phase of the evaluation process. Secondly, I'm going to stand behind the recommendation and decision to offer the opportunity to submit an RFQ only to those people or companies that we already had a contract with. I can't control what happens with organizations that choose not to participate in our normal maintenance process, but the results of conversations that we had that actually started with representatives of some of the local service providers led us down the road of saying we should be more inclusive, because had we followed the original plan, we would have only been evaluating those two software development companies. As we went through the evaluation process, again, I'm going to put words in the mouth of the evaluation committee, but I think there was a unanimous opinion that COT submitted the best proposal overall, not just based on cost. And they did answer every question that was presented by the evaluation committee that they wanted to have an answer to. And then I would just say that, to be clear, we are not buying the COT notification system. We are hiring them to do custom software development for ESS and Iowa land records. And we have been clear through the procurement process that the end result is going to be software that is owned, controlled, and maintained by Iowa land records. We've openly discussed with COT how this was different from their typical business model. So they clearly understood this and were eager to be a partner with ESS and Iowa Land Records to make this happen. And I'll just say one final note. This has nothing to do with preference or bias or anything. But I said to the evaluation committee at the very beginning, I believe all three of the firms that submitted proposals are competent, professional, and would have been capable of carrying out this project. But in the end, COT submitted the best proposal. And our experience with the COT team for as long as I've been around, but I would say even especially since their acquisition, has been very positive. And Myrna, our technical lead, has shared with the evaluation committee how good they have been to work with, and I would echo that. So I unashamedly say to you that the outcome of this RFQ process has produced a good result, and we look forward to working with them subject to your approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have questions for Bill? I was also on that committee. If you have questions, happy to answer anything.
This is Natalie. I have a question. Are we surprised that Solutions Harris didn't submit anything, I guess, after the conversations that were already had?
A little bit. They were the first to step forward and say, yeah, I'd be interested in doing that. And I communicated directly with Dan Schmuckler, who is their lead marketing guy for this product. And he also happens to be the current president of the Property Records Industry Association. So we know Dan very well. And, he reached out to me right before the proposals were due to let me know that they were not going to be able to submit a proposal. And my interpretation of that conversation is that for them, it was just too far out of what their business model is, and that they just weren't prepared to go in that direction. We offered the same opportunity to Tyler, to DevNet, and the other firms as well. I think they probably reached the same conclusion. So Cat just happened to be one that was interested in stepping out of their usual business model and offered to help us with custom software development. So I think it was an honest decision on their part and no hard feelings or anything. They just ended up saying, no, we can't do it.
And then also for those, I guess, on the committee for Jamie, there was a data breach a year or two ago, whatever, with COT, that affected the recorders. Was that conversation?
So we did have a conversation in the subcommittee about that as well. There's 3 recorders that were on that committee, and we had concerns over that, obviously. Which I think anybody would have a concern if there's, like a data breach or was a malware attack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ransomware.
Ransomware. Thank you.
It was the end of 2022.
So, we did talk about that pretty extensively, and we even brought that up to COT in their interview process. And they assured us that they have taken steps to kind of mitigate that risk. But it can happen to anyone. Honestly, it can happen to Solutions. That's what I have. It can happen to our counties at any given time. So
I just wanted to make sure that discussion, which I assumed it was,
it did take place. Yep.
Thank you.
So, and I felt this is kind of my first role in this type of process, and it was pretty rigorous, guys. Like, we asked a lot of questions. The committee had really great discussions. I was texting Lisa during some of our interviews, and I was like, wow, Bill's tough when he is asking questions. He really is. He asked a lot of good questions, some of them that were over my head, but they were things that had to be asked. So I truly do feel like we did our due diligence on this process. And to Phil's point, any of them could have done this, but COT presented the best. So, Jamie, do you have anything that you want to add?
Sure. It was mentioned, the security issues that had happened. And I thought Phil asked really good questions too, like, what have you done to mitigate this in the future? And I think that's extremely important when there has been a breach or there's been an issue that you are, basically finding a way to make sure it never happens again. And they did say that they're implementing like penetration tests and application vulnerability scans to identify any kind of vulnerabilities that are out there in their network and on their servers. And, that was something I asked about after that. Well, when you're done, if you were to be the one selected and you're done completing the development of this notification system, do you plan on scanning that system? And they said, yes, we will scan that system. And that was included with their process. So I feel pretty good about that because they confirmed that they're completing all their due diligence before they hand us code, which may have like these bugs or any kind of security issues would be addressed and those vulnerabilities would be handled. So from that conversation, and I did not have the background, obviously, that anybody else had working with COT. But from that conversation, I feel a little bit better about any kind of security issues.
Any other questions?
I just was gonna, I wasn't a part of the committee, but Jesse obviously was, and, you know, through the process, you know, we had a conversation about it. He just kind of, you know, filled me in and talked about how thorough and organized Bill was. So kudos to you. I've been through RFQ with you a couple different times now, so I knew right where he was coming from. Yeah, I just, you know, he said it was a good process to take part in, and you know, said the committee came to the same conclusion. So, thank you all for your work on that. Appreciate it.
Anything else?
Absolutely. Thank you for all of this.
This is Mel, and I'll just say I wasn't on the committee, but I appreciated that everyone who volunteered to look into this. My only question, which Phil already addressed, was that COT having their own system, that this would be our system, and I hadn't heard any other questions from my district. So thank you, though, everyone.
Thanks, Mel. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent to award
And authorization to proceed with the contract.
and authorization to amend the contract with COT.
This is Mel. I can make that motion.
Thank you, Mel. Is there a second?
Also,
It's been seconded by Denise. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. It's been approved to issue that notice of intent to award and an authorization to amend the contract for COT systems. All right, moving on to the ESS office space lease approval.
I'm going to ask Lisa and or Samantha remotely to join in the conversation. But just to summarize the process that we've been through, a few months ago, we started the process of searching for new office space for ESS in our land records project. And part of that process was to reach out to the brokerage community that serves the basically the Des Moines area, but with a focus on West Des Moines, Waukee, basically the western suburbs. We provided them with some general criteria that we believe that would be appropriate. We shared with the brokerage community that we were looking for space roughly in the 2,000 square foot range. We indicated to them that we wanted it to be basically already configured and not require a great deal of demising. We were interested in dealing with some of the common area expenses in a cost-effective way and a number of other criteria. Based on that, we were able to identify through the brokerage community and also through our own research about 40 properties that could have met the general criteria that that we were looking for. I should mention that we did review the criteria with your leadership committees, just so we had some assurance that we were on the right track. We went through the 40, we did a desk review, and Samantha and Lisa did most of the desk review themselves, and then there were 9 properties that we identified for a site visit. Those site visits were conducted, and the results of that is we narrowed it down to 3 properties that seemed to be the best fit. We did further site visits, further measurements, and lots of discussion, and ended up meeting with a search committee to discuss what the options were. Um, I hope I'm getting this right, but Jamie certainly was on there. Travis participated as well as Natalie and Director Jamie, if my memo is correct. And we ended up identifying um, two properties that it really narrowed down to. One of them was at 2910 West Town Parkway, which is over by Valley West Mall. And the other one was located just off Hickman Road over near the current ice arena. Multiple trips back and forth, multiple conversations back and forth. And at the end of the day, it was recommended that you proceed with 2910 West Town Parkway. And basically, we've been operating under an authorization to negotiate the lease. A number of issues were identified. We sought the counsel of Rick Gentry in this case as well. We also consulted with the ESS insurance broker to make sure that we would have adequate recovery coverage that was required by the lease. And if you look at page 12 of your handout, you can see I've incorporated an email that we shared with the participants in our process to convey to them the adjustments that we made in collaboration with the landlord that would best serve the interests of the project. So just a couple of highlights from that. The landlord was initially asking for a 5-year lease. There would have been an opportunity to exit the lease after 3 years, but with a 2/5 penalty on any cost of remodeling. In the end, the landlord conceded on that point, and so you will have the option to exit the lease after year 3 with no penalty. There is an option to renew for an additional 3 years. There was a lot of clarifying language. For example, we didn't feel the lease that they were offering, the language provided adequate assurance that the base rent was going to cover the common area expenses, including utilities, taxes, and the landlord's insurance. We were successful in persuading the landlord to incorporate that type of language. They were asking for 1 month's rent as an advance security deposit. We negotiated cutting that by half. Another component was that we had a discussion about events of default, and the 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 version of the lease that was shared with us really did not address the issue of what if the landlord defaulted, and we had quite a bit of discussion about this. The landlord did not want to make a change. They weren't doing anything nefarious. They were just negotiating. And ended up, we did reach an agreement with them to adjust the definition of an event of default. That would give us some leg to stand on if the landlord didn't come through with their promises in some way. So all in all, after review with our team and also the search committee, we have come up with a final lease proposal and are presenting it to you today, requesting your consent to proceed. This would be effective on April 1st. And I'm not going to take you through every section of the lease except to say that the provisions that we discussed have been incorporated and addressed in this final version of the lease. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have, and I would invite Lisa and Samantha, Jamie, others who participated to offer your comments.
I guess I just want to say thank you for negotiating all these points. I mean,
Yeah.
these are pretty big deals to us, and I truly appreciate your work on negotiating that contract for the betterment of our association.
Will there be any changes to the structure or rooms that will?
They've agreed to new carpet and paint. We were able to choose all of those, but there's no change to the structure.
Ready to go?
Mhm.
It's as close as we saw to something that was ready to move into.
Right. I don't have any bad feelings. It seems like every time we had a question, once we were there and there's a gentleman there named Pat who apparently does some of the work in the construction. He was delightful. I think he was surprised when Phil was at Priya, 5 women went to make choices on paint and carpet. We made that decision in about 10 minutes. I think he was pretty surprised by that. So I think it's a lovely space, lots of light, which is something we all wanted, lots of windows. Everybody will continue to have their own office. We begin the process of furniture and things like that. So it's a great conference space for the committees to use as they need to. So
It's definitely a nicer space than our second choice. Truly.
way nicer than the second
Way
choice.
nicer.
So,
It's pretty amazing.
and there is an option at the conclusion of this meeting. If anybody wants to go see it, they'll unlock the door for us. So it's close to Valley West on the way downtown to your hotel, if that's where you're going.
Well, I appreciate all the hard work to consider all the other things that are going on.
I agree.
Thank you very much to everyone.
And under budget.
There were some things included with the lease that we budgeted for that we don't have to budget for now, like utilities. Cleaning is included. So that will also reduce some supplies, like we won't have to buy trash bags, stuff like that. We won't be buying our own paper products because we'll be going down the hall to the restroom.
So, and to clarify, the only thing that wasn't included was the internet, right? And that's up to $250 is what.
Well,
you guys
it's
use.
well, you budgeted for that
We
amount,
it's budgeted.
okay? But it's going to be whatever you get from Google Fiber, whoever the team
But
is.
it's not included. in these
Right,
spend.
it's not. In the list.
Any
I think
other-
Samantha was doing some work on Google Fiber and it was a great price that was available.
She told me, I reached out to her yesterday just to kind of get my ducks in a row for it. It was $150 to $250 is what she had been hearing. She hasn't got a price confirmed, unless she has since I talked to
I
her.
don't think so.
So, any additional questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ESS office space lease.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Travis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Julie. It's been moved and seconded to approve the ESS office space lease. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Our next agenda item is the Linux migration and 1099 agreement extension.
As you may recall, back at the end of 2025, we entered into a contract agreement with Kelly Wallace, who is our former technical lead. And the primary purpose of that basically independent contractor agreement was to ask him to help us continue with the migration of our Linux operating system from a product known as SUSE over to a different product known as Ubuntu. Don't ask me to spell that. So the ultimate issue that we sought to resolve with that migration is that we kind of left with a bad taste in our mouth in 2024 and 2025 because SUSC sent in their auditors and we ended up having to pay a penalty because we were using licenses that we thought we had paid for, but were not apparently. And we felt like they should have been a little bit more proactive in communicating with us. So that's when a decision was made. Okay, there are other products in the market, and Kelly, who was still the technical lead at that time, made a recommendation to migrate over to the Ubuntu product. Well, then Kelly took another job. And this is not a subject matter that Myrna and Nancy are well versed in. So we persuaded Kelly to enter into a 1099 contract to help us with that migration, which he has been doing while he's doing his other full-time job. We're still not done with it, primarily because Kelly's busy at his full-time job, but we're still making progress on the migration. A few weeks ago, Kelly and Myrna and I met to talk about what our next steps were going to be. And generally, the goal is to complete the migration of everything except for our database software. That will still have to be addressed in some way. But we believe that if we continue to keep Kelly plugging away at it, that we can get all of those other pieces done by June 30th. And so the proposal here today is just simply to do a 3-month extension with Kelly Wallace to perform that work because his time has been limited and we haven't made as much progress as we had hoped or as soon as we had hoped. We are still well under the original projected budget. So there's no budget vesting happening here. Compared to private developer rates, which is around $150 an hour, we're paying him $70 an hour, which is, in my opinion, a bargain. And he's still into it. He's still wanting to continue on and do it. And I know Myrna is supportive of this as well because the plate for Myrna and Nancy and now Connor is still pretty darn full. So going to be up to my partner at my left to decide in July where we are going to be at. At some point, Myrna, Nancy, and the internal team are going to have to take this over. But we think this is a prudent step to continue to make progress on it. And I would request your approval of this 3-month extension for Kelly Wallace. Happy to answer questions.
Any questions for Phil?
Do you know how many hours?
Hmm?
Do you know how many hours maybe working?
Well, we originally hoped to be able to give us about 10 hours a week, and it's been closer to 2. So I couldn't tell you the exact number, but I can follow up and get it for you. No.
Discussion? Is there a motion to approve this agreement extension with Kelly Wallace?
This is Mel. I can make that motion.
Mel, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Natalie. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Linux migration and 1099 agreement extension for Kelly Wallace. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, the next is our lease substitution. This is for our copy machine. I can't even pronounce what that is.
Hanukkah Minolta.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So
I defer to Samantha and Lisa.
I'll jump in. So we contacted Hanukkah Minolta around the end of the year to tell them, hey, we're moving. We were working through the budget, trying to determine what it would cost to have the copier moved, which is somewhere between $800 and $1,000 for them to come take it over there, rehook it up, etc. And I respect that because it's an expensive piece of equipment. They want to wrap it up, do everything that they do. We're not going to throw it in the back of someone's SUV and take it over there. So within that conversation, they said, you know, it might be better, easier, whatever, to look at a new lease. And we said, okay, we're going to talk about that in March. So that's what we've been doing. We wanted to get closer to the time we were actually going to move, know what we wanted, what our space would be. And we've had a couple conversations with them in the last couple weeks that for whatever it says on here, $344.63 a month, they will provide us with a new device very similar to what we have. If we get it delivered by March 31st, which we will believe we will be able to do with some cooperation from the new landlord, we will receive an $1,800 rebate. So quick math, and it's for 5 years. The new lease will be for 5 years. That's what this one has been. So that would take it down to about $314 a month. So it seemed like a good plan to do that as opposed to starting, moving the old one. And this comes with support. So if we need something, we've had a great relationship with Conica, having them come out if we ever have a problem. It includes toner. So it seemed like the right way to go. I know there's been some discussion among counties that perhaps this isn't a great way to go. And if that is the wish of the committee, we will investigate some other opportunities and come back to you. But I would recommend moving forward with this because we know where we're going with it. And I'd be happy to answer questions.
I would just add one fact that is a part of the equation, and that is the reason it is so costly to move it is because you have to use them to move it. Otherwise, the warranty is voided. So that is a more expensive proposition than just hiring 2 men in a truck to move it. But you can do that, but your warranty is voided.
So then this particular quote, the term extends back out 5 years. Instead of getting out of the contract and looking for new January 1st of 27.
Correct.
Is
This
this
is Mel.
copies?
Yes, it is unlimited. Yes, Melissa?
Sorry. My only question is on that draft quote. It says the installation location. It has the Johnston address other than the new one. Will that be updated?
Yes.
Perfect.
What are we currently paying monthly?
Samantha, it's very similar to this, correct?
Sorry, yes, it is. It's
Okay.
Just a newer version.
Okay, so it's a newer version, but it's very similar to what we're currently paying.
Yes.
What is that? So we'll have a contract with this current through, you said the end of 2027.
Now through the beginning of January 27.
So another so many months, right?
Correct.
Obviously I saw there was some questions about, the cost of this, and I mean, I know what I pay for my copier too, which is not as nice as a copier of this, but I bought it, but I paid maintenance contract on it. And I think my maintenance contract at this point, obviously the older the machine gets, the more that goes up. That's how mine is structured. And I'm paying somewhere in the neighborhood of like $175 a quarter for what I have. I don't know how we can work this out. I would like to see us try to get some more quotes just to see if we can find somebody who's a little more competitive. But I know that doesn't really solve the issue in the interim when we have to move the machine. As somebody who is in a smaller county, that does a monthly rate does seem like a lot to me too, kind of. So I know there's been some other concern about that too, specifically for my district. So I just want to bring that up and take that. I would like to see us, see if there are any other options. But I know we're kind of running short on time, so I don't know how do we make that work, but maybe we can.
And I do the same thing in Des Moines County, and that's probably, I pay like $4 something a quarter, so. but I'm not unlimited either. I have to pay it.
And you guys are limited this contract.
Which has only happened once.
Any idea, just a ballpark on how much, like how many copies, prints, whatever, to that machine do you do?
I do not. We used to track it, and we don't track number of pages anymore.
No, because we used to meter it, and
Right.
we used to have more than just us in here.
Right.
And so we kind of spread that cost among 3 different organizations. But 3 years ago, we started the process of preparing for a separation. So up until then, it was a copier multi-function device that I had paid for. And we decided, well, I probably won't need that once the separation occurs, or at least I won't need that one. And so we converted the agreement to be with ESS instead of me. And at that point in time, since it was really only going to be used for ESS, we really didn't need to meter it anymore. So we haven't kept track of it, but the data still exists. We can look it up. That's not an issue. We can do that. And as I said in an email I sent to Jamie this morning, if you guys decide to have us keep it, we can do that. We'll just have to be prepared to pay the moving fee. And I don't. That's no longer my issue. I'm okay with whatever you do.
We went through one of the offices in our building, just recently went through a process to replace their machine. And I know that these companies are all really some of them are trying to be more competitive than others at this point, because even the one I use, it wasn't, I quoted mine. I bought a new machine shortly after I took office, which has been, 11 plus years ago, because we had a hand-me-down machine that the document feeder on top didn't work, things like that. And I've been sticking with it, I've stuck with it forever, but I just don't have the clicks anymore. I mean, with electronic everything, we simply just don't have the clicks anymore. So I looked into a machine, and with that company, I was quite frankly a little bit surprised at how expensive it was. And then I found out that it was our auditor's office. Went through a company who the individual salesperson has been one of the most annoying people in my life, because every time he's in the neighborhood, stops in and says, are you ready to do it? I'm like, no, I have 37 of your cards. I can call you when I'm ready. I feel like we should do our due diligence and get some additional quotes. That's my opinion. I'm one voice, but.
So you want to move the machine and fill out this lease through the end of the year and get quotes towards the end of the year for a new company, possibly.
I don't feel like I realize that this entity isn't a government entity, so to speak, is 20MB, but at the end of the day, I think we should be fiscally responsible and make sure that we're getting the best deal that we can.
Do we know what it's can we break the lease with them? Is that an option?
I'm sure we can. I don't know what the termination fee is, but we can find out.
That'd be good to know.
Just curious. Is that less than our moving cost, and is it still cheaper to go to different company possibly?
The moving costs, obviously, it seems like a lot to me too, but in the grand scheme of things, we're saving a bunch of money elsewhere. So if we have to move a copier, I don't see that's that big of a deal.
I don't disagree. I'm just curious.
But as far as like when this agreement is up at the end of 26, beginning of 27, I would like to see us get several quotes. I know there's all kinds of companies that do this around here. Access Systems. I'm sure Gordon Flesh is probably around here. There's lots of them. So I feel interest of us to make sure we're getting the best deal, because that does seem a little high to me for a monthly rate. So
Melissa?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, yeah, for a monthly rate, it is a little high. I mean, when you look at things too, I bought our copiers outright, so I'm not leasing it. And then I have a copy contract for them to come service it. So it's very little money, but I know there are different, I mean, Travis already mentioned it about government entity where they have to give us certain prices. So the last time I looked at anything, everyone was really competitive and a lot lower than this price.
Melissa, what company do you have? And Travis, what company do you have?
I'm currently with, what use, it's Gordon Flash now. It used to be a company called Advanced Systems, but they're bought out by Gordon Flash.
Okay.
That's the same that I use.
Mel, would you email that information to me, please?
Yes.
Okay.
We have access, they buy out our local service provider.
Is it InfoNet?
Infonet?
Infomax.
There's so many.
I don't know. I bought my machine already, so I pay either they come, I pay a boatload of money for my.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we're gonna table this.
Yep.
And have the.
Yeah, for an alternative. It would be cleaner to make a motion to direct the team to move the copier for the remainder of the lease and to seek alternatives after the move is done.
Somewhere between $800 and $1,000.
If you're willing to forego the warranty, I'll throw it in the back of my truck and drive it.
I'll help it. I'll bring this draft.
We'll bring some.
If it's nice, we'll sit back there.
We'll bring some back.
You might be from a small town in Iowa if.
Yeah.
We probably should keep the warranty.
Okay.
So Phil's, instead of tabling this, would like us to make a decision as if possible. Is there someone that's willing to do so?
I would make a motion that we move the existing copier and then direct the staff to start looking into start looking at multiple options for a multi-function device, lease, rental, purchase, however you want to do it. I don't care, just see what our best, who's got the sharpest pencil, so to speak. That doesn't have to be in my motion, but.
I can't repeat all of that.
Okay. I would make a motion that we move the copier and direct the team to look into.
I believe at the November meeting, we'll come to ESS with that information.
That's perfect.
Okay, great. Okay. So there's a motion on the table to move the copier, with the cost being between $800 and $1,000, and then in November to review other companies to lease out our copy machine. That is the motion on the table as I heard it. Is there a second? Did I capture everything, Travis?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I think so. I don't even remember all I
It's a
said.
lot. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Julie has seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed?
I
Sorry, Mel. Gosh darn it. I was trying to be patient.
I'm an I, not an nay.
Okay. All those not in favor, same sign. Okay. Motion carries to move the coffee machine. Okay, legislative update. Nick gave that to us at the opening of the meeting. Next on the agenda is policies and procedures, an updated publication, February 19th of 2026.
I'm only orally reporting to you that the policies and procedures manual has been updated. And when the packet of materials was distributed, you all received a copy, and the updated version will be posted on the website. And the only change from the prior version is the addition of the amendments to Chapter 1 that you adopted at your previous meeting. I apologize for all the flush, but since you decided to make me the microphone for the meeting, our development team is suddenly very active right now, and I'm not sure what's going on. But I can't control it, so bear with it until the end of the meeting, please. And I'm going to invite Kristen to come and take my chair for the next presentation.
So Phil, I'm driving, so you can look if you want. It was
She's talking.
okay.
And I can raise my voice too. Thank you, Phil. I just wanted to provide at least a quick update on our website refresh. We are within phase 1. We have initial insights on we're essentially doing a content audit of our entire website just to look at how's the best way to present our information, what layouts could be the most beneficial to people benefit people who are visiting our site for the first time. How's the best way to present that? The next step for us is we're going to actually go visit with Visionary in person and start looking at next steps and begin looking at layout options. So we are getting to the fun part of the project. So as we get those layouts created, we will let you guys know and keep you updated. But tomorrow during the ISAC conference, when we visit, I will be sharing a survey with the recorders so that you guys can give input on layout options for the Recorder Resource Hub. So that would be a first introduction to see how you prefer to see your information and how to access your resources. So I'm excited to share that, and included in that question, I'm also asking for interest for anybody who may want to provide additional feedback for what the website refresh could look like. So there's certainly more opportunity as we develop more visuals to really look at that and then help us get additional feedback so that we can provide an updated website. I think Phil spoke at the February meeting about how the iowalandrecords.org pages were first introduced in 2019 and 2020, and we haven't had a major update since. So we've learned a lot about how people access our website. And one of the big things that I think is interesting about our website is we have roughly 13,000 users in search and e-submission. And just within this last year, January of 2025 till January of this year, we had over 140,000 visitors to our site. So, and this would be unique visitors. So there are additional people who may not be registered with us that are coming to the website either to look at the directory or just get more information about who we are that may not even be filling out an application. So it's very valuable to have that information out there because we can see through our insights that people are looking at our website for more information and visiting the directory to look at what your hours are and to visit your websites. And I'm saying your in reference to county recorders. And another popular website is still remains to be the tax calculator as well. So a lot of great resources on our website. So that's the current update for now. There's a lot more to come. So is there any questions on the current development of the refresh project?
Our current website is currently being updated and maintained.
Yeah, it's currently still operating, yes. The plan is to build the new website off of the essentially scaffolding of what we have now, but updated. And we'll be building that in a separate staging environment for testing. And once we get through this testing phase of this refresh project and know for sure what we want it to look like and it's functioning properly, then we will be making the switch over from what we have now to the new site.
Thank you for all your.
What's in that?
Oh. Lisa moved our page to this insights page. This is a general look at our top page visits and the engagement. The engagement bar that you see on there is saying how much time people are spending on the site. Some of these are honestly performing as expected. A lot of times when people are coming to the tax calculator, they accomplish their task, and then they move on. What's not surprising to me is at the bottom two, you'll see number 9 and 10, which might be hard to read on the screen. That is our resource page and our search 2-0 webinar, which is leftover language from when we introduced the updated search platform that you can access currently. These are not good engagement times because when you arrive on those pages, it's outdated information and people leave. So this is an obvious update for us, is to have a single or reduced number of pages where you can access training. Currently, there are old pages with outdated information for training that we need to update. One of our top pages is our search. It's number 3 on this list here. It's number 2. Search dash oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Search dash records is one of our top pages, and that's currently where you find the most updated information on how to use the search application. So that makes sense, and I just wanted to share exactly what we have and own up to that we do have some outdated information that is still living on the page that we can update.
Any other questions for Kristen? Thank you for working on this project. It's a big undertaking and we appreciate it, Kristen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. All right, we have a couple API updates.
Just to let you know that we're continuing to make progress. We have one vendor that is still working on the e-submission API. There is evidence that they're actually working on it right now, so I'm hoping that it will be done before I'm done. And then we really have not seen a lot of work by the service providers on the county upload API. We have sent reminders. We reminded them that the deadline for getting that done is supposed to be June 30th of this year. And it remains to be seen how much progress will be made. I think the main thing would be for you is when you have the opportunity to communicate with your respective service providers, provide them with a kind and gentle nudge to please get going on that, because it's been out there for almost 2 years now, and we really need to turn off the old API. So we could use your help. Just nothing negative or mean-spirited, just a gentle encouragement from you might make a difference. But with that, we completed the main items on the agenda, and amazingly, we are ahead of schedule. So I would defer to Lisa to give an update on the possible post-meeting activity.
We asked them to unlock the door by 3:30. So I can shoot an email over to him real quick and see if there's any chance it can be done earlier and get back to you. TJ and Drew have been really good at responding to us. So I'm going to stop sharing and jump into my email and see what.
But explain the tour. What is the tour?
The tour of the new space. The address is 2910 West Town Parkway. It's Suite 106. If I was driving there, knowing that you all have GPS in your car, I go straight down 86th Street, where it then turns into 22nd Street, which makes no sense. You'll get to West Town Parkway, you'll turn right, and you'll follow it to 2910. It will be on your left. And you'll go down a little bit of a longer driveway and then turn left into the parking lot. When you walk in the door that you will see, we are on the right. So
You'll be there waving.
I will be out there waving. Absolutely, I will be out there waving.
So this is optional. It's not furnished or anything yet, but if you're curious, the option is there.
And if no one wants to go, that's okay.
You're still sharing.
Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on.
I thought you were trying to hide anything.
Meeting updates you want to give us? Why we've got till 3 o'clock, so you know anything you want to share with?
Please don't take till 3.
Yeah. If you have anything you'd like to share, please do so.
I've had a really great couple of weeks. I got to meet Phil just last week. So that was great. Because I had heard a lot about him during the interview process. And then of course I got to work more with the team members. I'm learning a lot right now. I think it's a lot to take in all the different roles that people have, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought the process of the vendor selection and the notification system was enlightening, to see how that process works here. And just watching Phil also negotiate the terms of the lease of the new space was enlightening as well, how much goes into those decisions and going back and forth to find, the best deal possible. So yeah, I think it's been great, and I can't wait to learn more about the system and how all the APIs work. And I know it's technical, and I really want to get into those details a lot more, but I know I'm limited on time too with the time that I have with Phil. So I want to make sure that I understand team management work as much. And then also I'm just learning a lot about the system. So I've been trying to think about different things that we can modernize with the system, what a collective vision might be with the system. And I think the redesign project is the first step, of just modernizing some of those public pages. But yeah, I've had a great couple of weeks.
So you're coming back next week?
Well, I will be back on the 24th. Oh yeah. And so I'm part-time. Well, yeah, part-time through this week. And then I'm out on spring break. At first I was going to have a start date of the 24th. And Jamie's like, I'd really like you to go to that conference. In fact, like, why don't you just start, on the 2nd in March? I'm like, that's fine. I can give a couple of days because I have all these appointments planned, and so it's been great because I've had 2 extra weeks to be able to come in during that part-time basis and learn a lot.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone's taking more time to meet with me than probably I'm giving back right now. So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, before we adjourn, thank you, Phil. You've been a great leader all these years.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna get too wordy because I'm already starting to get thank you for your contributions to Land Records for the last 20 years. I've been here that whole time. I've only been here 10 years. But you've been amazing to work with and a great partner to have in the system. And on behalf of ESS and myself, thank you.
No, thank you. Don't get me started because you might be here for another. I appreciate you guys too. I've always tried to put the ESS committee at the forefront of decision making, while also trying to provide whatever leadership I can. And it's been the project of a lifetime. So I appreciate the opportunity to have done this so long and hopefully leave a decent legacy behind. And I can't help but say that I think you guys have made a tremendous choice here with Jamie, and I've enjoyed getting to know you. And we've had several brain dump type discussions so far, and we're looking forward to some role play, right? That's an inside joke.
Roll crazy.
In any event, thank you all. And This is not goodbye, but I'm gonna do everything I can to help you and the organization succeed as I transition to the next step. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you very much.
With that, I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.